Everyone, you are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So continuing, you know, with the yesterday's topic. Now, yesterday we saw the traffic flow, and today I'll just give you again a brief on this. Okay. Now, when we saw the traffic flow, the first thing was that when the packet is, entering your firewall, when it hits the ingress interface. So after the packet arrives on the firewall interface, the ingress interface information is used to determine the ingress zone. Okay. So there are two things over here: your source zone and source interface. Okay, which is referred over here as your ingress zone and your ingress interface. And when the packet is received, it will extract L2, L3, L4 information and ingress interface, where packet arrived, zone, source zone, and your user ID if applied. Okay. Now these six tuples are checked over here. Source destination address, that is the next when the session is checked before it's you choose fast path or slow path. So source address and destination address, source port and destination port, protocol and the zone. All right. Now what happens over here? Then you have two situations. If you have the session created, it will follow the fast path. If you don't have the session created, it will follow the slow path. Okay. Now there's something called a service routes in Palo Alto firewall. So let's say that, guys, when you connect the firewall, from the management port. Okay, so you connect a management port over here to a computer. This is RJ45. You define an IP. You take the CLI, and then you have the GUI access on that particular IP, management IP. Okay, so the service. What is service route? So by default, the firewall uses the management interface to communicate with various servers, including those for external dynamic lists, DNS, email, and Palo Alto network updates. The management interface also is used to communicate with Panorama. The service routes are used so that the communication between the firewall and the servers goes through the data ports on the data lane. Okay, that's why we have service routes. So these data ports require appropriate security policies before external servers can be accessed. So how do we configure service routes? And I'll show you later on when we're doing a dashboard. But the location is this, that we have to go to device setup, service, and service route configuration. Okay. So firewall services, Palo Alto Firewall provides three primary services: DNS, DHCP, and NTP. Now DNS, it's a domain system. It's a protocol that translates, a domain such as example over here, Palo Networks to an IP, so that the users can access the computer's website services. And you must configure your firewall with at least one DNS server so that it can resolve host names. Okay. Now, how to configure DNS? To configure DNS, we have to go to Device, Setup, Services, Global, and edit the tab. Okay. So this is the DNS part. Here you can define your DNS services IP. DHCP, Palo Alto Network Firewall acting as a DHCP client can request an IP address and other config settings from a DHCP server. The use of DHCP saves time and effort because users need not know the network's addressing plan or other options. Okay, so all these criteria, if you have a DHCP server, the IP address of the management port, netmask, default gateway, and one DNS server will be given to you. NTP, the NTP information for this is optional. NTP information can be obtained via DHCP if the firewall is configured as a DHCP client. But if you want to, configure static, then you have to go to Device, Setup, Services, Global, and you will find the NTP over here. Clear, guys? Any doubts?
Everything is clear. So
Okay,
No, no, not all.
just give me a moment here, guys. Okay, now coming back to the configurations. Okay, so let me actually log into the firewall and show you. So first, let's actually see what is that.
I have a question though.
I'm sorry.
So I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead, okay?
This cloud, the net cloud in that event, I tried to connect it to my network yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
but I used Cloud One. I think that's where my network was connected to, but I couldn't get DHCP to assign the IP address, using my home network itself. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Okay, fine. So actually, today is what? Today is Wednesday, right? So Thursday, tomorrow it's a lab session. I'll show you completely how to do the setup. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But so let me just help you actually right now. So can you see my screen right now?
Yes,
So you
yes.
have the same setup. VMnet 1 is host only. You have defined an IP and a subnet, and NAT is this, and your VMnet 0 is actually. So what you do, you bridge your VMnet 0 to the actual, your actual wireless card. Okay.
Hmm.
VMnet 1, you have to select this option, and you have to, just disable the DHCP.
I think my setup is different. I'm actually using a server. I have a server that I'm using. I have a server that is on EXI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we can look at it later.
Okay, sure.
I don't want to hold the clock down.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so let me launch the CLI. So the command to check the interface IP is show interface management. All right, and you can see I have already a IP over here. So log into the same IP. Okay. Now the first thing was that I wanted to show you regarding the service routes. All right. So if you want to change the service route, you have to go to device setup services. Okay, so this is the dashboard. All right, these are the functional tabs. So you go to device, then you go to setup, then you click on services. All right, now over here you will see service features, service route configuration. So as of now, what is happening over here, my Palo Alto is trying to communicate to the internet using this port management. Okay, all right. Now, what I want to do, let's say if I have a data port that is connected to, ISP, and this one is on the, management interface. So I want to configure, let's say, 1/1 towards the ISP, and I want to use this data port as to receive all the dynamic updates. So what I have to do, I have to go back over here. I have to click on service routes configuration. Now it says what? Use management interface for all. That's the default function. If you want to customize it, you click on customize and you can select your services over here. Okay. So let's say if I want to select the DNS. All right. Now I click on DNS, then I click on set selected service routes and I can define the interfaces over here. So as of now, my interfaces are not up. That's why it's not showing anything over here. So you can actually define over here and you can define the source address as well. Clear, guys?
Can you run through the service configuration again one more time?
The
The just
service.
the, from the GUI side. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So service route configuration, it is using your management interface for all the traffic to receive the dynamic updates for DNS lookup and everything. And if you don't want to do that, so let's say in our scenario, let's say if I want to configure a data port that is, let's say, Ethernet 1/1 towards ISP. So I want to configure this one as my service route. So what I have to do, I have to go back over here, click on customize, select the service that I want, let's say DNS. Okay, then click on set selected service routes and you can choose the interface over here, source interface and source
Okay, I
address.
get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So in this case, that particular port will be dedicated for that particular service, right?
uh, it won't be dedicated, but it let's say uh, you know I'll show you, hold on. So let's say this link that is Ethernet 1/1, it is connected to ISP. Okay, and you're getting one public IP from the internet. So this one will be your, let's say, outside zone. Okay, and this is your DMZ server over here, DMZ zone. All the servers are over here, all the server farms. So at times what happens that your server wants to go out, your traffic comes in. All right, and if you define a service route also over here, so this will act as the link for your DMZ for your traffic, and it will act as a service route as well. It won't be dedicated actually. Clear?
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, and if you want to change the DNS, so to DNS the same place, so you can see over here, the services. Like when I click on this settings, I can actually go and customize my servers, DNS server, primary, secondary. This is the update server from where the Palo Alto gets the update about the app and application threats, vulnerabilities. Okay, and then you can define the NTP server address as well, primary and secondary. Alright, guys, any doubts? Anyone? Okay, so uh, coming back to the dashboard, you will see all this information, and these are the functional tabs: ACC monitor, policies, objects, network, device. So we are just doing the basic right now. That's why I have not explained what exactly lies on which tab. So we'll do that slowly. But first of all, today we will understand the backup procedure, the reboot functions, and everything. Okay.
Just a quick question. Just a quick question. Sorry to comment. So the service configure service I think the service route configuration.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you have a server in the on trust side and you want to you want to try and ping you're trying to ping trust the on trust you have a server in the trust on the trust side, the
Over here.
subnets, and yeah, and you have your on trust interface and you want to ping it. So you have to define the service route. You have to define it that I'm able to ping the on trust interface, right?
Service route
Is
is
it?
only for Palo Alto net updates.
Oh, okay,
Only for it. It doesn't take part in your data functions.
okay, okay,
Service route, when you define, you are just telling Palo Alto that when Palo Alto firewall wants an update from the Palo Alto servers that are sitting outside somewhere, you know, somewhere in the world over the internet or any DNS service or anything, it will take the management port by default.
okay,
Okay, and you don't want to do that. You want to your public IP is settings on a data port, so you have to configure, you have to mount the service route to a data port. So that's why you customize your service routes, and it is only for Palo Alto updates, nothing else.
okay. So are you going to customize the trust interface for that, or just pick any other interface?
uh you can pick any interface actually over here.
Okay, okay,
Okay, you can pick any
yeah,
interface.
okay then.
Okay, so right now services are done. Okay, now let's come back to operations. Okay, now configuration management. So the first thing that we see is manage configuration using candidate and running configuration. Okay, now guys, there are two terms over here used. First is, you can see over here it says what, uh, candidate configuration and your running configuration. Okay, now let's understand the basics first of all. So let's say guys, if I make any changes over here, let's say if I go to my Palo Alto management tab, sub tab over here under setup. If I click on general settings, and if I, let's say if I change the name, first name of my firewall to PAVM test, and click on OK. All right. So the first thing right now, what you have to do, you have to click on Save Changes. Okay. Now, when you click on Save Changes, you get a prompt over here. It says what? Config saved to .snapshot.xml. Okay. Now, what this means that whenever you see the, you know, snapshot.xml, that this is your candidate config. Okay, now what I'll do, my changes what I did are saved on this firewall, but they are not applied. So to apply to the firewall, what I have to do, I have to click on commit. So when I hover my mouse cursor over here, it says what, there are pending configuration changes, please commit. So when I click on commit, now the changes what I did, they are getting implemented or applied to the firewall. This is known as your running config. Guys, clear on this? Any doubts? Anyone? So when you
No, I'm good.
commit, okay. So when you commit, it becomes your running config. So always remember, guys, all configuration changes in a Palo Alto network firewall are done to a candidate configuration, which resides in, always remember, control plane. Okay. A commit activates the changes since the last commit and install the running config on the data plane.
So the saved candidate configuration is the running config, right?
No,
Okay.
saved candidate
Oh, sorry.
configuration is the configuration
The
that you have done, which is just saved on the device. It is not applied.
o-
When
okay,
you do a
okay.
commit, that is applied to the device and it becomes a part of your running configuration.
Oh, okay. What the saved the configuration is the running config.
Sorry.
The saved for the one that you have the save. Okay, no. So the candidate config is the
These
snapshot.
ones, you don't worry right now. I'll explain you one by one. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
So right now we're just trying to understand what is candidate config and what is running
Oh,
config.
okay, okay, okay,
Okay, we're just going to, getting used to the terms over here.
okay.
So whatever changes you do to the firewall, that is saved in XML format, a snapshot, and it is known as candidate configuration. Okay, these changes, they are they are sitting in your control plane, and when you commit, that means what? When you do a commit, that means it is applied to the firewall. That those changes, they will jump from control plane to data plane, and they'll become your running config. Okay, now why this happens? If you remember the, hold on. So guys, if you remember the, the traffic flow, hold on. So if you remember the SP3 architecture, guys, what I showed you, so you will see like, just show it to you, hold on. So you will see at the bottom over here, it says what? This side is your control panel, control plane, right? Okay. So whenever you're doing the changes and you're clicking on save, it is getting saved in your control plane. Okay. And when you click on commit, that means it gets applied to the firewall. That becomes a running config, and that is on data plane. So that's why data plane, it has three factors over here: networking, security, and content. Okay. So when you click on commit, those three features are getting applied over here. Clear, guys? Make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now we'll quickly go back to the diagram over here that we have. So you can see right now what is happening over here. This is your computer. Okay. And what you did, you're on the management connection to the firewall. Now when you click on when you did some changes, clicked on save, so what happened, everything is getting saved to a snapshot.xml. Okay, snapshot.xml format. Okay, and the moment you commit, it becomes your running configuration and it jumps from control plane to data plane memory. Now over here you can see the terms over here. It says what? Import named configuration snapshot. All right. So we'll just go one by one right now. Uh, so the first one says what? Revert to last saved configuration. Okay. So if I come back over here, your last step configuration will be what? Any idea?
Is it not the X and snapshot XML?
This option actually, okay, I'll tell you. I'll just write over here so that things are easy. So for the first option which says revert to last saved configuration means that this option restores the default snapshot. Yes, you're correct, TK. It restores the default snapshot.xml of the candidate configuration. Okay, clear, guys? Now this option will restore the last saved candidate configuration from the local drive. Okay, and what it will search for, remember always, snapshot.xml file. Okay, the default snapshot. This is known as the default snapshot. Clear, everyone? Now actually guys, when I say default snapshot, you can actually go ahead and override this default snapshot as well. So how to do that, we'll see it right now. But understand, the first one, when it says revert to last save configuration, that means it will be restoring the firewall to the default snapshot, that is snapshot.xml. Clear, guys? Second one is revert to running config. So this option restores the current running config, current running configuration. So this option undoes all changes that you made to the candidate configuration since the last commit and restored the last running config.xml file. Got my point? So let's say what I'm, I'll show it to you. Let's say if I change the host name of the firewall and I clicked on config changes, config and save changes. So this means what? This is my candidate, okay, and I didn't click on commit. All right. So if I click on revert to last save configuration, that means what? It will be saved to this one. And if I click on save to running config, that means it will just omit this one and it will revert or restore to the last commit running config that we have done earlier. Clear, guys?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is your save named configuration snapshot. Now it says what? Save named configuration snapshot. This option creates a candidate configuration snapshot that does not override the default snapshot.xml file. So whatever default snapshot.xml file is there, it will not override this. Rather, you can create a new one with a customized name. Okay. This function is useful when you create a backup file for a test configuration. Or a test configuration file that could be downloaded for a further modification or testing in lab environment. Guys, clear? Okay. So I'll show you how it is done. So if when I click on save named configuration snapshot, it will ask me to select a name. Okay. So I can actually override these two files. Okay. If I don't want to wish, then I will say test. And I click on OK. Now it says what? Config save to test. Okay. Now if I click on revert to last saved configuration, it will be reverted to default. Load named configuration snapshot. If I click on this over here, see here, guys, I can load my override, the customized created profile. I can click on OK, it will be loaded. Clear, guys? Now the next option is save candidate configuration. Now when I do this save candidate configuration, this option creates or overrides the default snapshot.xml file. Simple. Okay. Now if you click on save candidate configuration, this will actually override your default saved snapshot file. Next is load named configuration snapshot. So this load name configuration, what happens? This option will override the current candidate configuration. That means the current snapshot file. Okay, so if I click on this, so you can see right now, I can actually have a custom named candidate configuration or a custom named running config. All right, so I can load over here. If I click on load configuration version, so you can see it right now. There's a difference. This, is just that, I mean, this option will override the current candidate configuration. That is the, snapshot file with the previous version of running config that is stored on the firewall. So the firewall automatically creates a timestamped version of the running config. Okay. So this is the running config, these two. Guys, getting my point?
Yes, Anupam.
Hmm.
When it comes to save candidate configuration,
Hmm.
can we select any type of configuration that we have done, and we can replace it with the default one?
So actually, saved candidate configuration will only, override the default snapshot. If you want to have a custom, then you can click on this save named configuration snapshot. You can create a custom, or you can actually edit the override the default one. Okay, but with the second option, you will just directly override. It will not give you the option to customize it.
Okay, but with what will it override? That's the question.
It will override
Uh,
your snapshot file, snapshot.xml. Okay,
oh yeah, all good.
okay, again,
No,
whatever changes you do to the firewall, that gets saved on the snapshot.xml when you click on save changes. Okay, when you click on
yes.
commit, that becomes your running config.xml, and that is when you do a commit actually. All right, and that is your running config. Now, where was I? Load, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so the next one is your export named configuration snapshot. So this option actually, if you select this option, export named configuration snapshot, this option exports the current running config, guys. Yes. Okay, it will actually give you, you can actually export name configuration snapshot, means it will give you three options: running config, candidate configuration, which is a snapshot, or a previously imported configuration. Okay, so the firewall exports the configuration as an XML file with specific name that is defined, and you can save this in a letter location. These exports are used as backup. Okay, so you can select over here which one you want to do: a candidate configuration, a customized one that you have set, I mean a customized candidate configuration, or a running config. Okay, for this is how you take the backup over here. Configuration version. So as you saw in the load configuration version, is the same one. When the firewall, that it takes automatic running config, versions over here, you can select these two, any of them actually, and you can click on export. Export device state. Okay. Now when I click on export device state, it won't give me any option. It will just directly reboot, and export will be done. So this option actually exports the firewall's information, state information as a file. In addition to the running configuration, the state information includes like your multiple factors like device groups, templates, global protect. So this is what we will see later on, not now. And same goes for your import. If you want to import, you can just click on it, and you can select the file, XML file, and you can import actually. Import device state also, you can browse, and you can select the file. You can import the device state as well.
So is the file has to be in XML format?
Yes.
Okay, then. Thank you.
only snapshot.xml and running config.xml format.
So if you're importing it, it's going to be in XML format.
Yes, always.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. So guys, few questions over here. We know that you know which plane does the running config resides on. Please remember it's a data plane. Candidate resides on control plane. And candidate and running config are always saved on which file type? Always remember XML. Okay, guys, clear till here? Any doubts?
No, we're clear. It's just a control plane is the snapshot and the candidate configuration.
Yep.
Data plane is the one that you commit and is a running config.
Yep. Okay. Now
All
we
good.
will. All right, awesome. Now, guys, we will just quickly do some more basics actually. Let me start with the dashboard actually. So, okay, so as I've told you, when you log to the firewall, Palo Alto firewall, you will see the dashboard. It will look like this. Okay, so on the top, you will see these tabs: dashboard, ACCA, monitor, policies, objects, network device. So all these are known as your functional category tabs. Okay, functional category tab. And this is the dashboard page. Clear, guys? Now we'll see quickly. I'll give you a brief. So what dashboard provides? Dashboard will provide you the general information such as device name, management IP address, licensing information, everything. All right. ACC tab. So this will actually guys, if you have license, I mean, if you have the licensed version of Palo Alto, then you will see the firewall logs to graphically depict traffic trends on your network. So it will show you the network activity, threat, blocked, tunnel activity, and everything. Then you have your monitor. So monitor, what it will do, it will just if I go to monitors functional tab, so you can see the logs over here, traffic logs, source, destination, zones, users over here. Okay, it'll provide, I mean, this provides logging visibility and every ability to run packet capture. So you can see the threats, URL filtering, wildfire submissions, data filtering. As of now, you can see only the system part of it, right? So you can see that I made a change over here to the host name. That's why it has a timestamp. It says severity, medium, event, general. So this is the login service. Next is your policies. This allows you to create the security policy, NAT policy, QoS, PBF, decryption, tunnel inspection, everything. Then comes your objects. This page is used to create objects such as address objects over here. Okay. Now, what are objects? It is just a definition that you can define with a object. I mean, you can give a name to a particular IP actually. Okay. Then we have network. Network, you will see all the network parts over here: the interfaces, zones, VLANs, virtual wire, virtual routers, IPsec tunnels, and device. We already saw that this is the configuration to the I mean, configuration of system information to to the firewall of the firewall actually. So you can do all these interfaces, operations management. Now over here at the very bottom you will see tasks. Okay, and language. Guys, if you want to change the language, you can click on this and select the language whatever you want. It will be changed. These are the available languages that we have. And if I click on tasks, so task what icon appears at the bottom right. So it will actually, you can select it to display the task that you or the administrator or anyone has initiated since the last firewall reboot. So you can see manual commit happened, okay, and auto commit was already done. So you can see the timestamps over here. So if I click on this commit, so you will see the details. Okay. Now again, service routes. Guys, any questions understanding service route? Okay, these are services actually which Palo Alto uses to updates to get the updates for it for the firewall. So that's why you have NTP, LDAP, Palo Alto Network Services, Panorama Proxy, Radius, TACAX if you have, let's say. So you can define over here.
So for like, let's say for the example now, your LDAP, you can pick an interface that you want to get the updates from, right?
Yep.
Like the source interface
So
and the source address.
yeah, so let's say uh, you have your Palo Alto firewall. This is the public IP interface towards the ISP, and you're getting one public IP, and this is your DMZ server, and this is your LDAP server over here. Okay, so what you do, you have to customize. So 1/1, 1/2, 1/3. Okay, so Palo Alto, you want Palo Alto to communicate to LDAP server. So what you will do, you will go to service route configuration, you will click on customize, and you will specify the interface, okay, for LDAP. And let's say for your DNS, you want to use 1/1. Okay, so you can define customize over here. You getting my point, TK?
I get you. I get you. I get
Yeah.
you now. Thank you very much. I get it now.
Okay. So you can see over here,
Hmm.
LDAP, I can actually, define the services. Let me actually go here and I know initially this service route and the interface manual profile creates a lot of confusion. So,
Oh no, the reason I'm asking that I think we had an issue when we were setting it up. We
oh, okay,
couldn't ping some devices.
okay, okay,
So I was just wondering. I just wanted to make sure I get it right.
okay. So you can see right now, let's say LDAP. LDAP, I want to use 1/2. Okay, so I have to find an IP. Hold on. Guys, what I'm doing, I'll explain later. As of now, I just want to show you the service routes. So please don't worry about it. So let's say if I accidentally click on close, but I'm not sure whether my changes are committed or not. So you have to click on tasks. So once you click on task, it will show you the progress, commit progress. Right now it's completed. So I'll go back to my device, service route, customize. For LDAP, let's say if I want to use my, so you can see right now, TK, everything popped up over here. So let's say for LDAP, I want to use Ethernet 1/2. So it will automatically
Hmm.
choose the source address. I click on OK. For DNS, I want to use Ethernet 1/1. It will automatically choose the source address, click on OK. So you have dissected
Okay.
all the both the points. Clear?
Okay, that's clear.
Awesome.
And with the syslog as well and all the rest of it. Yeah.
So Anupam, so it means that particular port is dedicated to LDAP server or DNS server.
Yes, but actually you have, I have dedicated, but you can see right now I'm also running my public interface over here. That means what? So this interface, let's say when I hit this, so Adit, Aditya, right? Who asked the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say this is my Ethernet 1/1, my 1/2 connected to LDAP server. Okay. So Ethernet 1/1 is selected for DNS. The DNS will be, the service route will be actually going through this Ethernet 1/1 data port along with my normal traffic as well, which is from inside to outside or outside to inside, whatever it is. So service route for DNS, I am defining this interface, but I'm not dedicating it, because if I say the word dedicated, that means it will be only used for service route. No, I'm just making my service route a part of this interface in 1/1. And on this interface, I have other traffics also coming in or going out. Getting my point?
And what about the LDAP server? So is it the same as well with the LDAP as well?
Yes, service route is basically you selecting the data ports for the communication, and it can be any port which is handling other traffic as well. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, so where was I? Okay, service route is done. Now DNS, you saw the DNS on the same page. You have the NTP as well. Okay, now let's come back to DHCP. So DHCP is very easy actually. When I click on any interface over here, you see this point to point over Ethernet static and DHCP client. So if I click on DHCP client, it will actually, send the request. What request? Discover request, right? DHCP guys. So it will send the discover request to get the IP, and you will see it. That's a DHCP. NTP is done. Yes. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. All right, guys. So the next one is your dynamic updates. So before I do dynamic updates, I'll explain you a few of the things over here. Let me open my Paint. Okay. So in Palo Alto, guys, to ensure that you're always protected from latest threats, so you have to keep your firewall up to date with latest content and software updates published by Palo Alto Networks. Okay. Now, Palo Alto Networks, what they do, they will regularly post updates for first is your application detection, threat protection, global protect data files. What is global protect? We'll see right in after some time. So all these are done through something called as dynamic updates. Okay, clear, guys?
Yes.
Now dynamic updates, what all you get? Okay, so dynamic updates, you get the something called as wildfire cloud update. Okay, global protect wildfire cloud update, then something known as URL filtering, antivirus signatures. Okay, app ID, and your threat protection is already there. Okay. Now, what is firewall cloud? Sorry, wildfire cloud. So wildfire actually is a company which publishes every 5 minutes, the updates about the threats over here. URL filtering. What happens? Your again, this is again there's a there's a PAN database which keeps on sending the URL filtering updates over here, Antivirus signatures are updated daily. So these are the daily updates that you will get. Okay. App ID means new applications which are updated and sent to Palo Alto, I mean to all the firewalls across globe to identify which application is trusted and which is not trusted. Okay. And threat protection is done weekly. Now, guys, these dynamic updates, if you want to get, you have to get what? First of all, your license, which we don't have. Okay. So if you have license, then you will get all these updates. Antivirus signatures, guys, it will include that. I mean, it will happen daily, and it will include new and updated antivirus signatures, including your command and control signatures, wildfire signatures also. I mean, this is only specifically for your malware detection. Clear, guys? Any doubts over here?
Not at all.
Okay, guys, one more thing. Global Protect is actually, it contains the HIP. That means your host information profile returned by, a Global Protect data clients. Actually, what is Global Protect? You heard of Cisco VPN? Okay, so for the remote access in Palo Alto, we use something called as Global Protect. Okay, for Cisco, it is VPN, right? Cisco, what is that? Connect, right?
Any connect.
Any
Any
Connect.
connect.
What's happening to my mind? Yeah, any Connect. So for Palo Alto, it is known as Global Protect. Clear, guys? Any doubts? Anyone? So once you have license, guys, all these are subscription based actually. So you will start getting all these updates. You can update your firewall. You will download and install the updates. Now let's go back to the page where I'll show you where to see that. So when you click on, you have to come to the device functional, category tab. Then scroll all the way down on your left. Click on dynamic updates. Okay. So you can view the latest updates, read the release notes over here, and you can select the update that you want to download and install. You can also revert to a previously installed version of an update. And always it is recommended that you review the content release notes for the list of newly identified and modified applications, because let's say in your company one application you are using which is customized and that is not recognized by Palo Alto, but it's working seamlessly. But again, let's say after a week you did a dynamic update, you installed an update, and that application particularly which your company uses is actually marked risk or threat, so that will be blocked over here. Okay, so it's important to read those release notes. Clear, guys? Now,
Yes, so far.
thank you. Now, guys, over here you will see software update also. Now, dynamic updates for your traffic, and that is for your app and threat, app ID, everything. Now, software update is specifically for the Palo Alto firewall pan OS. Okay, for the OS. So a final reboot actually must be performed, to put the pan OS software into production. Please remember that this reboot is actually disruptive and should be done during a controlled change window. So the software download specifically is done over the management port by default. Okay, and a data interface can be used to download software using a service route. So let's say the software, I have management port by default, it's running on management port. If I want to get an update, so I have to you know do a service route if I don't have internet access over the management port. Okay, and let's say if you are not able to do anything, so you can actually download the software image from the Palo Alto customer support portal, and then you can manually upload it to your firewall. Clear, guys? Any doubts? Anyone today?
Not at all.
All right. So,
Anupam,
yep.
uh,
Please go.
with the software update, should we assign any DNS ad- address or anything of that sort?
Yes, you have to. So, not now. When when we will be doing a lab, there's a lab that I will do in which I will show you how to get firewall internet access. So I'll show you that you need to have DNS over here. So the DNS part, NTP, okay, in a production is mandate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. So I think